Hey all, this is Eucep again, and today I'm going to look at my pretty much finished F91 Mastergrade Gundam in Harrison paint scheme. After building the kit, nothing really left but these, a loose pilot, some weaponry, which he all can hold pretty much, some sheets still to do, but that's for another time. He has a shield. You actually get a loose part which is now on his arm. That second part is actually supposed to be in one of his hip guards, but I'll leave it like this. It's much easier to swap it out like this than to have that thing in there and having to pull it out, because it's a royal pain in the ass. And I don't really see a usage for it in there anyway. I'm not sure. The book doesn't really give an explanation why there is a second one in there to start with. Perhaps a replacement, who knows. But this one just easily plugs in. Just a simple pin connector. That's about it. It's one piece. It's painted this way. You get it this way, so nothing to do with it. Very lovely. He gets a pair of guns, at least one normal beam rifle with a movable clip for dual-handed action, I think. Otherwise fairly basic, not too special. And then there is the bazooka, which is very impressive. It's nearly as tall as he is, so has just one moving part, which is a handle, and the ammo clip can be unclipped, and that's about it. Nothing too fancy about it otherwise, nothing that collapses or anything like that. Legs, sticker for in here, really should have gotten something, but something that can be of course remedied with paint. But I'm not sure if I'm even going to bother with paint. I'm going to try get some Gundam markers at least, because well, there are some parts which I'd rather use Gundam marker on, especially to replace all these yellow stickers which are on him for all the details on his legs, because they seem to be letting loose fairly fast. Also here on the shoulder, all yellow. Except for the Vulcans, everything on his chest that is yellow is a sticker. Oh well. He has some weapons, even without those external ones. These parts are weapons as well. They swivel around. You can move the arm here. Slide it out, slide out the handle. And you can use the hand to then hold on to it. I'm sadly not too fond of this weapon, because there is a lot of clearance issues, especially with the side skirts, which makes it very awkward to even try to wield these, which is too bad. And unlike what I hoped for, you cannot move it over his shoulder and just let it shoot like that. You can move it around and then like this, and pretty much that is as far as it can go. So perhaps for flight mode it's useful, but any other way not really. Yeah. You have some nice detailing in the back, really nice, I must actually say. There are like 3 layers of plastic in there which you have to build up to make it look like this. I'd rather had they used something of it for the front as well, to give him a bit better look. Yeah, as said, you can swap out the shield. There's a rotating joint in here. Just plug on this part sure it can't rotate back. And there it is in place. Looks fairly impressive actually, I like it. It's a nice shield. But let's remove it so I can show off other things a bit easier. There's a gimmick in his shoulders and in his face for a super mode. You remove this part of his shoulder, and there's a slider which you can take a hold of. Doesn't really lock into place, which is unfortunate. Then you get this part out, which you can then spread out for his super mode, and then replace this part. You can do it on both sides, of course. Could try to tug on here, but it's a bit bothersome, so first slide it out a bit, then you can pull it out for the rest. Yeah, my breathing is still very labored, so I'm having efforts. I'm really having trouble doing this review. So yeah, you can get that into super mode. Take off his helmet. And you get an interesting face swap. Let's see if I can show it properly. Pull it up somewhat. Move it all around. Put it down. And you have a new face. Which is very Gundam-esque. It has nearly like a mouth almost and a nose. Very unusual. It's interesting. So because it's different, I'm going to leave it like that. Just to have something of a more alternate look for him. You can of course use both of these and the shield, whatever you want. Articulation is fairly good on him. The ball joint on top and the swivel underneath for the neck. So he has a fair... Yeah, the helmet is fairly loose. Also, as you might notice, no sticker on the eyes because the helmet and the face swap gimmick completely demolished that sticker. So really need to paint up the eyes. Already applied the black, but I don't have a green marker yet for it. Chest opens for a pilot hatch. All this yellow here, except the Vulcan's, well, that sticker. I really like this grating stuff. Underneath there's another part, and I hope that I can get a silver Gundam marker to paint what is underneath in detail, so you really can look at something underneath like a working engine or something. Because this really reminds me of like the grill of a car. Really works nice. Articulation onwards. The shoulders have a simple swivel to move up the shoulder guard. The arms can move in and out on the shoulder joint and up. There's an internal joint here. Then there of course is rotation and swiveling in the arm part itself, moving back and forth completely freely, only hindered by the shoulder guard itself. There's a swivel in the arm as well, so you have two swivels and a double jointed arm, so really excellent articulation there. The armor on his forearm is somewhat loose, so it can easily split up, which can be bothersome. There is a ball joint in here, and then a ball joint in here, and then a swivel in here, so his hands are fairly free to move all the way around. But there is another small issue. Yeah, as you may notice, that dangly finger, yeah, that's so loose. Stop showing your foot. These parts, this grey and white part, really don't want to stay put together. keeps on springing loose, and I'm not really sure how to solve it. Which is pretty much the most annoying part of this kit, that I can't really fix that. It's on both hands, but very loose fingers. There is a peg on the inside for the guns, so letting him keep hold of it, not an issue. There are 2 ball joints in the waist, but the armor limits it considerably. Without the armor, his whole body is a lot more flexible. But as you can see, yeah, it rotates. Oops. As you can see, it really comes loose. Rotation hindered by the skirt, as usual. Ball jointed hips. One part of that shield armor can be stored in here. There's a place for it, but it's very annoying to get open. Really is tight. On the other side, you hold the beam sabers handles. They are very annoying to get loose or stick back in, so I'm not going to try that. Yeah, ball jointed here, ball jointed there. The back skirt actually has 2 ball joints, but they're very limited. This is the extent which they can move. There's actually a gimmick in here that you can open this and move this out, and there's a claw in here which can hold onto the bazooka for storage mode, which is very nice. And it, well, as you can see, you don't see it if you close it up, which is very nice. Legs move very freely. There is something like a revel tag joint in the hip, which allows for some very far going movements. No issues there. It's just the skirts which get in the way, and that's about it. So yeah, a Perceptor kick is possible. Also, you can see the armor really lets go very easily on the legs. There's a double jointed knee, but it has an issue. If you do first this one, as you may see, this part goes up and that locks the upper joint so he can't bend fully. But if you bend the upper part first, then the lower part, you can get a full bend, which is curious. But oh well, not much that can be done about it. Just be careful with it. 2 joints in the ankle and a swivel in the foot. So yeah, in terms of articulation, this guy is excellent. Just those hands is actually my biggest gripe with him. Can I recommend him? Well, for the 18 euros or 1800 yens, or about 18 euros, which I paid for him, quite recommendable. Otherwise, just skip him.